Recently, a poll released by the New Zealand Drug Foundation showed growing support for liberalising cannabis laws and overwhelming support for greater access to medicinal cannabis. Over the weeks ahead on Checkpoint, we are going to look at the broader issue of the legal status of cannabis in this country. But for Helen Kelly, who is terminally ill and using cannabis for pain relief, access to medicinal cannabis is a very personal issue right now. I interviewed her in Wellington a week and a half ago before either of us were aware of the poll or its results. We were in fact having a broader discussion about life, New Zealand life, the union movement, worker safety and much more. We'll play that in full later. But during it, the issue of her use of cannabis for pain relief came up.
So I'm taking a mixture of cannabis products depending on where I am in my daytime. I don't want to get stoned, right? So the main thing is at night I take cannabis oil.
When you say take it, how are you taking it?
It's in little tablets,
Yeah.
but it's been distilled down from leaf. And you just take one. And it just relaxes me. It's amazing because I've also got shingles, which is the thing you get from stress, being sick and everything. And I get very anxious. And cannabis leaf with a bit of tea, water on it, is like a little anti-anxiety thing. It really calms my nerves. And during the daytime I might have some edible, like chocolate or something, just to take the top off, but not to get too stoned. And then the most amazing thing, can I show you?
Yeah, go on.
Is this tincture, which is a cannabis coconut cream and cannabis mixture. And it's basically an oil.
So coconut cream?
Yeah, and cannabis.
Yeah.
And it's basically, you rub it on yourself. And I mean, all these hippies kept sending it to me, mate. And I kept thinking, yeah, right, it really gets in, Mrs. Marsh. But it does. It bloody does. It's amazing. So when it's really painful in the nighttime or whatever, I can rub that on. And within a few minutes, I'm getting relief from it. And actually...
You rub it in like a...
Yeah, just like a tincture.
Yeah.
They call it a tincture, where...
And so it's a kind of a form of local anaesthetic almost.
Yeah, and I've discussed it with one of my doctors and said it's weird. It could be, placebo or something,
Yeah.
And no, they say you can absorb. I mean, you do absorb this through the skin in a way. You put the oil under your tongue or in a tablet or whatever and it absorbs. So it's exactly the same thing. And but it doesn't make you stoned. It's not going into your digestive system.
But that little pot you just passed me, the contents of that would be illegal, would they?
Mm-hmm. Totally illegal. And we've got old people with arthritis who are using it, who just say it's the best relief they've ever had. Well, a person who contacted me about their mother who couldn't really get out of bed, totally good brain, body, but arthritis, used it, got up. So it's this mild, low-key, cheap medicine being denied, and people are manufacturing all sorts of products out of it themselves without any idea of how strong it is, what they're taking, how to get it, running around in the back blocks trying to get hold of the product. It's absolutely insane. And in Australia now, they've regulated medical cannabis and they're going to make products available and already starting to. And it's lawful for us to go there and get a prescription and bring it back. And so why isn't there a whole list of those products?
And what's the answer to that question?
I don't know, but when I applied for a product which is 30% of the Californian market, what they did was they just rung the doctor, Ministry of Health just rung the doctor and asked question after question after question. He's a busy man, he's an oncologist, totally frantic. And there's things like, well, how will you know if she's benefiting? How will you know if she reacts? What do you intend to do to sort of administer it? And what's your experience? And it was just this, which doctors don't get asked for any other drug. They don't ring them up and say, I see you're giving her chemotherapy, how will you know this is going on, how will you know whether she's responding? The Ministry of Health. And he withdrew the application, my doctor, because I think he felt intimidated. We haven't had a good long talk about what happened, but imagine being him in that storm with me tweeting done and everybody covering it, and you're the doctor that signed the thing off, and the Ministry of Health are ringing you up and saying, what are you doing, sort of thing. Instead of saying, can we help you? Hey, you've got this application and we see it's high profile, it must be stressful, is there any way we can help? No. And then it was just denied. So now I'm forced to go illegally, and nobody's judged me on it. I've not had anybody criticise me for that. No politician. And why isn't Peter Dunn saying, well, she's breaking the law?
So what's the answer? What would you like Peter Dunn to do?
Well, immediately I'd like him to put a whole lot of products on that list that are widely used. He doesn't need to.
So at the moment it's a list of one, Sativex,
Yeah,
right?
so he could put the oils on, and he could put some of those medical products that are available in California, and then
So these would be products that have been proven in other territories and are available in other territories.
that are available and are used. They might not be proven to his pharmaceutical grade quality, something or other, which is just a way of putting up a barrier because nobody's using those products. The American regime doesn't require that standard. The Australian regime doesn't require that
And
pharmaceutical.
the American regime also has the protection of the fact that if these things were going awry by now, the lawsuits would be flooding in, right?
Of course they would. And also, once you decriminalise it or make it a lawful product, you can treat it as a health issue. And you can actually make sure that, it's not sold to people under 18, it's not transferred, it's not supplied. There's also, in America they have only certain brands of cannabis because they can not make it so it doesn't get stronger and stronger and stronger. These are sort of recognised varieties, a lot of them, but they're all recognised. People are innovating because it's lawful, and it's insane. The government's apparently funded Auckland Med School $170,000 to do a research project into the impacts of cannabis on brain cancer. Well, I've got brain cancer, and they're denying me it, and so they think there's something in it. If you fund a medical trial like that, 170,000, you know what they're like about research anyway. And then you say to me, you're breaking the law, you can't take cannabis. It's a bit freaky when tumours are growing in your brain and,